Long before European explorers arrived, the indigenous peoples of South America told stories of great cities hidden deep within the jungle, places of stone plazas, tall ceremonial mounds, and sprawling fields that fed tens of thousands. Some tribes spoke of El Dorado, a mythical land of gold and power. Others told of Paititi, a city rich beyond imagining. But to outsiders, these tales sounded like fantasy. When Spanish and Portuguese explorers pushed into the Amazon during the 1500s, they recorded surprising accounts: large settlements, wide roads, and cultivated landscapes. The chronicler Francisco de Orellana described seeing miles of villages along the Amazon River, bustling with life. Yet when later expeditions returned, those settlements seemed to have vanished. The jungle had reclaimed everything. European scholars dismissed Orellana as an exaggerator or liar. For centuries, the prevailing idea was that the Amazon could not support complex societies. Its soils were too poor, its environment too harsh. The myth of an untouched, pristine forest persisted until modern research began to say otherwise. The notion of the Amazon as a green desert, rich in plants but poor in nutrients, shaped archaeology for generations. Scientists believed only small nomadic groups could survive there. But starting in the late 20th century, discoveries challenged that assumption. One of the most striking findings was terra preta, black earth. Unlike the thin, acidic rainforest soil, terra preta is rich, dark, and full of nutrients. It's not natural, it's human-made. Ancient Amazonians created it by adding charcoal, bones, compost, and other organic material. These soils remain fertile for centuries and can regenerate. The existence of terra preta proved that humans had engineered the land to sustain large populations. Alongside fertile soils, archaeologists began uncovering geoglyphs, enormous geometric earthworks carved into the landscape, only visible when forests were cleared or viewed from the air. Circles, squares, and complex shapes spread across thousands of square kilometers in Brazil and Bolivia. These were not random clearings. They were planned ceremonial or residential centers, connected by causeways and canals. For decades, thick vegetation kept the Amazon's secrets hidden. But then came LiDAR, light detection and ranging, a laser scanning technology mounted on airplanes and drones. LiDAR beams can penetrate forest canopies and create detailed 3D maps of the ground below. In the 2010s and 2020s, LiDAR surveys in the Amazon produced jaw-dropping revelations. In Bolivia's Llanos de Mojos region, scientists discovered massive Pre-Columbian cities with pyramidal mounds, vast plazas, defensive earthworks, and road networks stretching for miles. These urban centers, built by cultures such as the Kasarabe, thrived between 500 and 1400 CE. Similar findings emerged in Brazil: interconnected towns, ceremonial structures, and engineered landscapes stretching over areas once thought empty. Suddenly, what looked like untouched forest turned out to be a palimpsest of human activity. The Amazon was never a single unified empire like the Inca. Instead, it hosted diverse, regionally distinct cultures that flourished at different times. The Casarabe culture of Bolivia built monumental earthworks, reservoirs, and long causeways linking urban centers across wetlands. In the Brazilian Amazon, Marajora societies on Marajo Island created large mounds, intricate pottery, and managed fisheries to sustain dense populations. Farther west, other groups engineered raised fields and canals to farm seasonally flooded land. These civilizations adapted brilliantly to the rainforest challenges. They reshaped soils, controlled water, and cultivated crops like manioc, maize, and fruit trees. Some scientists now think the wild Amazon is partly a cultural forest, its biodiversity shaped by millennia of human influence. No story of Amazon exploration is complete without Colonel Percy Fawcett, the British explorer who vanished in 1925 searching for a lost city he called Z. Fawcett believed ancient ruins lay hidden in a Brazilian jungle. Armed with reports of pottery shards and stories of stone cities, he embarked with his son and never returned. His fate remains one of exploration's great mysteries. For decades, mainstream scholars mocked Fawcett's vision. But modern findings, especially LiDAR cities and terra preta, echo elements of what he believed, that the Amazon once held complex urban cultures. While Fawcett may never have found Z, he may have been closer to the truth than skeptics thought. What were these cities like? Imagine causeways stretching across wetlands, linking plazas lined with ceremonial mounds. Picture raised fields of manioc and maize, fish ponds and canals providing steady food supplies. Pottery workshops turned out decorated vessels, while religious rituals echoed through plazas. But life was not without danger. Floods, droughts, and disease shaped these societies. When Europeans arrived, so did devastating pandemics, smallpox, influenza, which swept through populations with no immunity. Some scholars think up to 90% of inhabitants died in the first century of contact, collapsing social structures and leaving cities abandoned to the forest. Over centuries, vines and trees grew over plazas, canals silted in, and human memory faded, leaving only legends. The Amazon is one of archaeology's final frontiers. LiDAR keeps revealing more. Road networks hundreds of miles long, vast engineered landscapes, and even hints of larger population densities than once believed. Other tools, satellite imaging, soil chemistry, and genetic studies of crops, add pieces to the puzzle. For example, domesticated trees like Brazil nuts and certain palms cluster near ancient settlements, evidence of deliberate planting and forest engineering. Despite these breakthroughs, vast areas remain unexplored. Political instability, logging, and mining threaten sites before they can be studied. And some researchers warn that we may be destroying traces of ancient Amazonian history faster than we could document it. These discoveries are rewriting textbooks, but not without pushback. Some archaeologists argue that population estimates may be exaggerated. Others caution against romanticizing ancient Amazon cultures as lost utopias. The debate is fierce. Were there millions living in cities or more modest networks of towns? Another layer of controversy: indigenous knowledge. Many local communities have long maintained that their ancestors built great works. Yet academic narratives often ignored or downplayed these voices. Today, a growing movement insists on partnering with indigenous peoples to interpret their own history. Walk through the rainforest today, and you might think you're in untouched wilderness. But hidden clues abound, straight lines of earth, mounds barely visible under roots, orchards of useful trees, shards of pottery washing up in rivers. Scientists now describe the Amazon not as a virgin forest but as a cultural landscape, a place co-created by humans over thousands of years. Its biodiversity may partly be an ancient garden, designed to sustain people in challenging conditions. This perspective changes how we think about conservation. Protecting the forest also means protecting its human past and listening to the descendants of those lost civilizations. Despite centuries of silence, echoes remain. Indigenous oral traditions speak of ancestors who built great places now gone. Pottery shards tell of artistry and trade. Modified forests, where useful species dominate, show careful planning. Even place names preserve memory. Some researchers work hand in hand with local elders, combining LiDAR maps with oral histories to rediscover ancient centers. It's a collaboration of technology and tradition, breathing life back into forgotten stories. Why should we care about lost civilizations hidden in the Amazon? Because they challenge assumptions about what humans can achieve, even in extreme environments. They remind us that sustainability isn't new. Ancient Amazonians thrived for centuries while enriching their soils and biodiversity. Their story also warns us societies can fall. Disease, climate change, and disruption wiped out cultures once capable of reshaping a rainforest. Understanding them might teach us resilience or hubris. And beyond science, there's wonder. The idea that under the green ocean of leaves lie forgotten cities, waiting to be found. That somewhere, beneath vines and roots, plazas and roads sleep in silence.